This is a Glass Box Media podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome to My Worst Date. I'm Cassie.
I'm Keegan.
I'm Christina.
Whew.
Oh boy.
What a week.
Exactly.
I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
And we didn't go to another podcast event. Just
Still a hangover from last week's podcast event. You're just still tired.
Oh man, I had like 3 days in the office this week, and it's never one of those things. I was just telling Christina on the way here, I'm like, I don't just go into the office and sit behind a desk and like do stuff. Like if I have to go in the office, it's because we're like filming or doing
yeah,
doing.
I've been there with you
an
on
events,
days like that,
yeah.
which is it's
A
a
lot.
lot. Yeah,
It's a
it's a
lot.
lot of like running around. You know,
It's a lot of running around. It's a full day.
yeah.
Very, very full day. So I'm just on a hangover from that. And I literally, it was like Tuesday through Thursday. So I
Yeah.
was just like,
I'm very resistant to the concept of going back in the office. Like they keep talking about it at work. Like every week we have a meeting where someone brings it up and they're like trying to get all my access like up to date. So they're like, just, so you're ready to go back in. And I'm just like, I feel like a toddler.
I don't
like,
know
I'm
that
like,
I'll ever
no,
be ready to be.
no.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't
No.
want to. I don't want, I'm like dragging my feet to get anything done.
You're like falling on the ground.
Like, yeah,
No.
having a full on temper tantrum.
Yes.
Let me tell you, like the job that I'm currently at, like being able to work from home and having a boss that just basically is like, as long as you get your shit done.
Yeah.
Like
As it should
being
be.
treated as an adult is actually
What's
quite
that like?
lovely. So not being micromanaged, not having to like deal with all that shit or going into the office, commute, all of that.
Yeah.
Gone from my
Yeah.
life.
I will say that the
Is
people
lovely.
directly above me at my job are very chill. Like they're like, we don't really want to go back full time either. They're
Yeah.
like, if it was up to us, we wouldn't be doing this at all. But it's just when you work for a big corporation, people are making decisions broadly,
Wow.
without taking into account like any nuance or, individual situations. So it's like, yeah, we've been doing this for 2 years. Do I really need to be there?
Well,
Clearly
I'll
we
tell
don't.
you who really needs you to be there is the
Real
commercial
estate.
real estate
Oh,
people,
man.
which is $1 billion like industry.
Yeah.
It's freaking out. So
That's where it's really at.
Yeah.
That's
so
the crux of this.
You get back in there, just poking you with a stick.
Poke.
Hey,
Exactly.
go back in there.
Get back in there. Get back in there.
I love our little amuse bouche of Eat the Rich at
Yeah.
the top.
Got to hit the top of every episode.
Yeah.
A little quick sprinkle.
Oh, speaking of amuse bouche and work, we are on TikTok now.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You can find us at My Worst Date podcast.
That's right. We are going to be creating random content. So
Love
you get
it.
to see me just speaking into the void, which is one of my favorite things to do. So yeah, go follow us. Go tell us what things you want us to see. Send us videos you want us to stitch and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, actually, TikTok's been fun. I
love TikTok.
my
It's
ass
a
was
joy.
resistant.
I know. And
know.
now that you're in it, are you like in it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because I actually think the short form I like. I like the just couple minutes doing a little bit of content. It's actually fun. I actually enjoy it. I actually enjoy that it's not about me having to have a full face on and feeling very produced. It's actually the
still feel that way.
opposite of
Yeah,
produced.
absolutely.
Well, you shouldn't. Actually, it's so funny because we work at the TikTok building. So, of course, we get like snippets of TikTok information given to us in random ways. And one of the things was it's actually don't. Like, please don't actually.
It looks like you're trying too hard.
It is.
When I
it
notice
doesn't
people
perform
like
well.
fully, I'm like skip.
Yes.
I'm like I need people that are
it's
like
not
me.
real. People don't. They're like
Gremlin core. That's what you need.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
they're very resistant to it, and it's actually very much become like a thing where people are like they just don't want that. Like it's not relatable.
Yeah.
So the more relatable that you are, the more real you look, the more it's getting action.
Here's the problem. I feel like it would shock people to see me at my most gremlin. right? Like, I don't even let my DoorDash person see me. I get the notification that they've dropped off my sealed bag of Taco Bell.
You look at your
and
little
then
door.
I give it a solid 5 minutes because the last thing I want is to open the door like the little fucking cave creature I am and like reach out a wrinkled hand and make eye contact with someone, because I look at my worst. I look so unlike myself. It's that bad. So I'm like, I at least have to do a little something. Like, even you two have only ever seen me looking that bad like a couple of times after hangover days. You know,
I shared a like space with you in Vegas, and I've seen you sans makeup, fresh out of the morning. I think you're overestimating.
Okay.
I think you're really going. I mean,
we'll let the
unless
TikTokers decide. They're like,
Do it.
oh my God.
Hey, they got filters on there. That's right. You could do it as a
A
cat.
light makeup, a little bit of freckles or whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, the key is go follow us. We're going to be throwing a lot of stuff on there. And yeah, we really appreciate you guys doing that. But I need to talk to Cassi right now about the thing that you sent in the thread earlier,
Speaking
which
of
is
TikTok.
fucking terrifying.
So speaking of TikTok, it's so funny because I actually got this because I have the weirdest Twitter, in which Twitter like is like, hey, so-and-so posted this might be interesting to you. And I'm like, what? And it's always like the most random stuff. This one, however, was a tweet by Belle Rideau, and it said, not this girl thinking she was dreaming and hearing voices, and it was actually her boyfriend's mom standing over her while she was asleep talking about how she wanted to harm her.
Why?
So it's from TikTok, and this girl is at Rosie Duh. It's ROSIDUH, and she did the butterfly in the sky.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And it's the writing over top is, when I downloaded an app to hear myself snore at night. Okay, I need to talk about that because every other ad is literally that ad where it's like, listen to yourself. My TikTok, it's always that ad where it's like, oh, you can find out what you were doing. And it's like literally people's recorded voice of them talking to themselves. And she's like, I just wanted to know if I snore. And
never seen this before.
Oh, you're kidding.
No.
Okay. Well, anyway, so she got this app and it said, but I ended up hearing a voice saying it wants to unalive me and saying hateful things. So I think it's a ghost, and I put a camera in my room, but it turns out it's my boyfriend's mom coming in my room saying these things while I slept, while hovering over me.
That's what in the fucking paranormal activity is that?
There's a picture.
Yes.
It's
oh my God.
literally a picture of her mother, well, not mother-in-law, but her boyfriend's mom standing over her.
What's
while
wrong
she's
with her?
sleeping.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
I need a story time about like.
Okay, she story timed
Okay,
it.
great,
I'm going
great.
to tell you. So she does story time it, and so she's like trying to explain to people, like, you know, she's really like, she just got out of prison.
Oh, okay. For
And so-
what? Why?
So she didn't say, but she was like, it's not that bad.
Okay.
Is what she said.
Okay.
She said she was given 10 years, but got out in 3. She says that she's like, I don't want to turn her in or do anything because she's like really trying to get her life back together. And I'm like, honey,
Girl,
baby,
you can't stay there.
You can't
You're in
sleep
danger
there.
she
Yeah.
can sleep there because it's her motherfucking house.
Oh.
No.
Yes.
No.
So
But,
this
woman is going to do that in your own fucking
my
house.
house?
She is 21 years old, and she has it's her place that her boyfriend lives in with her. And so they were taking care of mom's kids, like as young as 2, like her kids,
21.
in her
She's 21.
fucking house. And that's part of the other thing where she was talking about. She's like, I also don't want to turn her in because I don't want to fucking raise these damn kids. She loves these kids. To
Yeah.
be fair, she's like, I love these kids, but these are her kids to take care of.
Wow.
And I also don't want her to have to go back to prison because she's like, then what's happening to these kids? She's like,
This
I'm
is
21.
a terrible situation.
It's a lot. And then and she's like a sweet baby angel. She's young. She's 21. Like she is like the 21st of 21.
The audacity.
And she's like, I didn't tell my boyfriend either because she's like, my boyfriend mean and he would definitely send her back to prison.
Oh, dude, something. This is a powder
That's
cake.
scary.
This is a motherfucking powder cake.
But she hasn't said anything to the mother-in-law. So the mother-in-law her boyfriend's mom doesn't know she even knows. And her boyfriend's mom is super fucking nice to her in real life. She's
that's even scarier.
Yes. Right. She's like, I haven't said anything because she's really fucking nice to me.
Also,
She's
I'd be
like,
very nervous
don't
putting
eat
this on the
anything.
internet.
She was like, I didn't think anybody'd see it. And it's like, she's like,
okay. So you just said something that jogged my memory for another mother-in-law story, which was don't eat anything.
yes, don't eat anything. Don't eat anything. We got
sent something. I cannot find who sent it. So
yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So I had to look it up again, but it
does sound like creepypasta, but
it does. But okay, so this woman was like, I met my husband. We got married pretty quickly. We were already married by the time I met his parents. Mm-hmm. His parents, and specifically his mother, was like very unhappy about meeting her. Like, just was like, seemed like she didn't like her, was very like cold and kind of like distant to her. And then she started noticing that every time she went over there, she would get sick. Like after eating.
And they would stop there on their way to like someplace. Like they'd be going camping and they'd be like, oh, let's stop at my parents. We'll stop here and then go camping or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was always on their way to something.
Very outdoorsy couple. So it was always like on their way to something else. And it wouldn't happen so much if it was like something else was going on. But anytime they were leaving there to go do something, she would get sick. And so she was like, I think my mother-in-law is poisoning me.
Oh my God.
So one time they go over there, she switches the meals and with her husband, and her husband gets really sick. And so she's like, okay, this is the proof I need.
Yeah.
So she tells her husband, like, I think your mom is poisoning me. Here's the proof I have. And he loses his shit. And he goes over and confronts the mom.
She shoots him.
Yeah.
Holy
she
shit.
Shoots and kills him.
She said that she was doing it. She was poisoning her, but she was doing it to get them out of going out places alone, because his first wife, the husband's first wife, had died camping or like died hiking with him. And so she didn't trust him to be alone with her.
Holy shit. Her own son?
Yeah. So she was poisoning her daughter-in-law to keep her from going.
Wow.
Out. Yeah. And it does totally sound like a creepypasta, but I was like,
and it also sounds like maybe not.
I mean, we've told.
What if she's been the culprit this whole fucking time?
We've told, more wild stories on this podcast.
Yeah.
So,
and he's dead. He can't say anything now.
Oh my God.
He can't contradict that.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
Wow. Well, bad mother-in-laws is definitely a trope in this society, along with the dopey husband that can't accomplish anything and the nagging wife.
Oh my God, it's giving me the Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah, definitely. That is one of my, or it was when it was on Netflix, like that is one of my problematic comfort shows. Like I would put that show on just to have like a good old dose of like 90s nostalgia in sitcom format.
But it really has like all the tropes in
the
it.
worst way.
Yeah.
In the worst way, where you're supposed to be like super like sympathetic or empathetic towards Raymond, but like he's the worst. Terrible husband. Yes. And like poor Deborah is literally just trying to hold it down.
Deborah's
and like
the only redeemable character in the
I know, and she
show.
takes like so much shit the whole time. And then like, her mother-in-law Marie on that show, Doris Roberts, who loved Doris Roberts.
Actress.
Yeah. But she's terrible. Like she's terrible. And I'm just like, I really feel like they're not like, they'll be like, she's terrible, but also she's really caring deep down and just loves her family.
Just quirky.
And I'm like, I'd be like, Raymond, we need to move.
Yeah. The boundary
or I will leave you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, if my mother-in-law was coming in just unannounced all the time, like that's not.
And then unable to accept even a tiny bit of criticism or any boundaries at all.
Yeah.
Without getting like passive aggressive and like, just absolutely terrible. Seriously. So if you've never seen that show, they live across the street from his parents, and they have no boundaries. They're generally like pretty awful. And I would tell Raymond, I'd be like, look, man, let's move across the country.
Yeah.
We have to move, or else I will take the kids and I will leave you.
Yeah. It's too much. So I think we need to FMK bad mothers.
mother-in-laws?
Yeah.
Well, she needs to be one because every time I think of like a mother-in-law situation where I would walk away, I think of that.
Well, this isn't so much like a bad mother-in-law situation.
Let's
as
do bad
much as-
mothers, bad mother-in-laws.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You brought up earlier Mommy Dearest, and I have a special connection to that movie.
Oh, because your name is Christina?
I'm named after that movie.
You've told me this so many times, and it's like brand new information
Yeah.
every single time because I'm like, surely not.
Christina is not a family name. Like it's not common or anything. It was just something that my mom thought was pretty after that movie came out. And
That's so funny.
That's what I'm named.
Deeply
For.
upsetting. I'm sorry. I'm like the scariest mom of all time.
Yes,
Like
no more wire hangers.
The scariest.
The scariest.
truly, I mean, and that like I rewatched it recently, and that movie has become such a campy like cult classic. But genuinely, that scene, if she wasn't overacting to the point of just like it being ridiculous, it would be so terrifying.
Well,
like
yeah, it's just it's so. I mean that movie is campy, but it does depict that abuse of when you have like a narcissistic parent.
Yeah.
You know how fucking terrifying it is because one moment they're like all about you and like lovey-dovey, and then the next minute is like you're just walking on eggshells all the time. It's terrifying.
also always makes me think of like, hey, remember there was a time in the not too distant past where you could just like buy children if you had enough money?
Yeah.
Like that's what she did. She was just like, I'm just gonna buy some
These kids. Yep.
Like horrible.
As an adopted child, I feel very
Feel kind of way
I'm
about
very
that.
conflicted about
There's
this whole thing.
tons of stories of that.
Yeah, it was a whole thing, specifically in the 30s. It's not good.
Yikes. All right. So because we were talking specifically about mother-in-laws, obviously the first thing that came to my mind was the movie Monster-in-Law.
Yes.
Which is Jane Fonda.
Uh-huh.
So it's
And J-Lo, right?
Jennifer Lopez, Michael Vartan, who I love.
Me too.
I think he's so hot.
Never heard of this movie.
Monster-in-Law?
Wow.
No.
I mean, it's
I
not.
feel we got to do this for Tainted Love for sure
Yeah.
at some point.
It's not good. It's not a
No,
good
it's not a
movie.
good movie. No.
Yeah.
I didn't think so. Just given the brief snippet that I've heard,
You're like
pretty-
the
fairly
title
certain.
pretty much is giving
Yeah.
me a clue. But yeah, I'm going to go with Jane Fonda in that movie and just know that she is a monster-in-law. She basically tries to break them up, and that's her mission. Like,
Right. And she's the type, I can't remember because I haven't seen it like since it came out, and I probably watched it on like TBS.
Sure.
On,
Yes.
you know, but she's like your classic, no one is good enough for my son kind
Yes.
of monster-in-law.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So you've got some different.
but at least it's well acted because it's Jane Fonda.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And Doris Roberts is like slightly different. There's like a little sprinkling of that, but it's also that like
it's passive aggressive.
Uh-huh.
That's
Which I
the
hate.
main thing.
martyr to the
Martyr.
nth degree.
Oh my
Yes.
God.
Yeah.
Well, I think I know what I'm going to do.
Oh,
So you got
okay.
the narcissist, the martyr, and
the maniac.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Jane Fonda.
I'm going to marry Jane Fonda. Because,
Okay.
honestly, like, you know, because it's a movie, so you know that at the end she's going to come turn a new leaf.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're going to
You're
find common ground.
That's right.
Yeah.
They're going to come
The
to
music's
terms.
gonna swell.
That's right.
Uh-huh.
So for that reason alone, I have to marry Jane Fonda.
Yep.
Plus, it's Jane Fonda. I mean, it's a no-brainer.
Beautiful.
right.
I don't think I can deal with Mommy Dearest. Oh God,
But
I
then
don't
you
know.
have to fuck Marie.
Oh,
Which
nope.
just think about
Nope.
it for a second.
Nope. Nope. I hate all this. Awful. God. No, I gotta.
Hey, you know, a narcissist can pretend for a night.
Literally,
That's right.
Have a-
honestly.
There
Yeah.
you go. That's exactly right.
In fact, I bet she's not bad.
I'm gonna fuck Mommy Dearest. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God.
God damn it. But I cannot
No.
with Maria's awful. We know how much I hate passive aggressive.
can't-
Yeah,
You
you
can't
would
handle
never.
it.
You would
Oof.
never. You would
That's-
never.
Could you imagine?
No.
Yeah, I can't fuck with Marie either, specifically because that kind of attitude and that kind of is very prevalent in my family. The martyr, the passive aggressive feels very Midwestern to me.
Hate it.
I'll just
feels-
give the silent treatment. And so
Yeah.
that like guilt.
the guilt, the shaming,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. It's just
She
it
can't
hits
cook,
a little
though, so there's
too close
can
to
too.
home. But yeah, I think maybe because it feels so familiar. I don't know. Maybe I feel like I can marry it because I feel like I have found a way to navigate.
Both Cassie and I had the biggest, deepest inhale.
Gasp.
Well, but
I believe
okay.
that was a gasp.
It was a gasp.
I know it. It's familiar to me and I know how to navigate it. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
I know how to combat it. I know how to shut it down. I know how to.
Yeah, and to be honest,
My way to shut it down isn't nice, though.
no.
Mine's awful.
Mine's to the point.
Mine's confrontational.
But here's the
Well, that's
thing.
what someone
is
like that needs, I think.
Oh, maybe.
I understand that people have their different coping mechanisms.
Yeah.
We're not all perfect. Like the way that I cope with shit, it certainly isn't perfect. So I'm not going to try to make someone feel bad for the way that for whatever reason they've chosen to navigate life, you know? So
Passive aggressive, though, comes off so bullshit and phony to me, and I hate it so much because it's
a
just
lot
like
of it comes from fear.
I can't.
Yeah.
But to me, I'm like, if you fucking don't like me, you're gonna goddamn tell me.
It's not really
I'm gonna
about you,
pretend.
though.
I know.
That's what's
Yeah.
sad about passive aggressive is all about their own fear and insecurity.
Well, yeah, as a people pleaser who does not like confrontation, like there's sometimes it's just easier to, it doesn't have to come out as like passive aggressive or like guilt behavior, but it is just easier to swallow everything and carry everything. And that can come across as martyring behavior because that's just how you cope with things. And so I don't think that there's a right way or a wrong way. I think that there are ways that are damaging to people. And if that's the case, then you need to seek help. Like Marie should be in therapy.
Oh,
No
God.
shit.
Oh, my
Like,
God.
I'm like,
yes.
she's
Honey.
the way that she is, you know, especially with her daughter-in-law. But none of these options are good because Jane Fonda, I'll tell you, I hate a passive-aggressive martyr, but I also hate I hate that emotional incest with like moms and
Ooh,
sons
yeah.
Yep,
where
me
they're like my baby boy, my sweet baby boy.
No one's ever going to be good enough.
That shit
That's weird.
would be, I couldn't be married to that
No.
because I'm just like, oh.
I do feel like Chris's mom probably feels like he is God's gift from the angels above.
But does she make
However,
you feel badly?
No, she fucking loves me. Are you kidding?
Yeah. That's fine then. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's just like, you should love your kids and you should think that they're, you know,
Yeah.
something. But
Yeah.
but you should, you know, be kind to other people.
So I'm going to marry Doris. We're going to, you know, get her into therapy. We're going to watch some Brene Brown together. We're going to talk about like healthy communication styles and boundaries and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Make her read attached. Like, just leave it on the table.
exactly, totally. And then you know what? I'm gonna fuck Mommy Dearest too.
Yeah.
You know, it's Joan Crawford. Maybe you know we'll get a fun night out of it. But yeah, I'm not hanging around too long because that shit gets dangerous fast and very frightening.
Yeah,
So,
and the way they
in and
drank
out.
in that movie too is just
Oh,
like they're
man.
just fucking downing like Tom Collins like left and right. Yeah, no, thank you.
No.
I mean, I am also let's just get it out of the way. I am also going to fuck Joan Crawford. Look,
I mean-
say what you want. The woman is a legend. She's a lot of other terrible things. One night, fine. I imagine a canopy bed, like a lot of like
Lots of silks.
lots of feathers. You know
Yes.
what I mean? So
Satins.
yeah. So you get in, you get out, you get on with your life, right?
Yeah, plus she's got kids. You don't want to hang around.
Yeah. Bye. The other two,
I really think there should be a not remake of Mommy Dearest specifically, but I want to see that story in a real.
yes, which I think is also the real Christina kind of said that like
Yeah.
we could do it in such a better way now, like
Yeah.
take it out of the
Right.
camp realm and actually make it like real. Yeah, and I would be interested to see it. I wonder who
Right?
would play Joan Crawford now. That's an interesting.
Angelina Jolie.
Oh, that would.
Ooh. Okay, but the other two, this is very hard for me because I watch Everybody Loves Raymond and I cannot stand Marie. Like she drives me up a wall. But Jane Fonda, that's going to push it ahead. That's going to inch it ahead for me. It's simply because it's
simply Jane Fonda.
It's Jane Fonda. And also I feel like maybe like if he's not there, physically present, maybe it would be fine. Like, so it's bad on holidays when her son comes to visit and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
But when he's not around, we can have like nice vacations and she's probably somewhat normal. So yeah, I'm going to do that.
And again, it's a movie, so she probably changes her tune by the end, right?
Yeah. What happens? What happens after the happily ever after though, Cassie? She's got J-Lo has to come back every year.
I think it has
deal with that
forever.
woman.
In my mind, that is a nice, tidy bow that has been wrapped up, and we're moving on.
I do think that's how the movie ends.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but
it has to be.
It would be very 2000 something.
It's conflict resolution, HEA.
Yeah.
All day.
Yes.
You gotta tie that up in a nice, nifty little bow, and you just walk away from it.
Walk away, wash your hands.
That's right.
Yes, because even the end of Everybody Loves Raymond was not like it wasn't like now I feel good about, I would be totally fine marrying into this family. Like still no, it's still a no from me, dog. Okay. That was a fun one. We have a new patron.
Excellent.
Yes. So I want to give a big shout out, worsty welcome to Maddie Myers. We are so excited to have you as part of the Patreon fam. If you have any suggestions for anything that you would like to see on Patreon, any Tainted Love movies you would like us to do, please reach out and let us know.
Yes, definitely. And also, you guys, don't forget to send us stories.
Yes.
We know that the world is coming back to ish,
Life,
normal-ish.
back to life.
And not that we wish bad dates upon you.
No.
But I'm just
But
saying.
we know they're happening.
But you know
we
what?
know they are.
We know they are.
Don't let them go to waste.
Yes.
Bring them to us. Let us share. Commiserate together.
That's right.
Well, you guys want to take 5 and we'll come back with stories?
Sounds
Yes.
good.
Okay. And we're back. All right, Christina, it's your Tainted Love this week, so you kick us off.
Okay. I've got a really interesting one for you guys that I think we'll have some opinions on. She says, this might be a long one to follow. My best friend, a 22-year-old female, has been speaking to a guy online, 25-year-old male, for about 6 months.
Okay.
It started on a dating app and then moved on to WhatsApp. She's besotted with him. They didn't meet up for ages, not for lack of trying, but finally went on a date last weekend. They live about 70 miles from each other and neither drives, so they use public transport to get there.
Immediately, no, I'm out. I'm out right away.
Thank you.
Like, I'm like, did you have to get on a Greyhound 70 miles?
Oh my
train involved?
What kind of public transport is this? This is not America, because we do not have like
No, you would
rail.
have to take like several different forms of transport.
They met in the middle. So they only had to go 35 miles. Okay. All right.
That's still in LA, 35 miles is like a million miles away.
I mean, what is that? Like Magic Mountain?
It's more than
Anaheim?
that. Yeah, that's like
That's
Anaheim.
going to Disney World. That takes forever.
Yeah.
Or Disneyland. Yeah.
No. Okay.
Disney World is way more miles.
A couple more.
Just a few.
Yeah.
Okay. So they met in the middle at a nice nature park. There's walks, a cafe, and it's safe because it's always busy with families. Since they were going to the park, she took her dog with her because he had shown interest in the dog during their conversations.
This sounds perfect so far, minus the drive.
He said he would love for her dog to come along. He's a black lab named Milo. He's about 4 years old.
That is so cute. I had a black lab growing up named Jamie. Oh, adorable.
Jamie.
I know.
Labs are adorable.
They are.
I mean, all dogs are. Anyways, she was texting me throughout the date because I wanted to check on her safety. She said it was going well and they were getting along. She joked he wasn't a catfish like we'd all warned her about. Anyway, fast forward to the date being over. They're both on the train/bus home and she texted him saying, thanks for a lovely day. He took about 5 hours to reply.
That's
It's too many hours.
Which worried her because they're usually back and forth within 10 minutes.
Oh, do you know the like cold sweat I would have after your first date?
First date. And then, yeah,
guess
exactly.
it's over. That's me.
Yeah,
I guess it's over.
When he eventually replied, it went similar to this. By the way, my friend doesn't mind me sharing this.
Thank God.
Her. Thank you for a lovely day. Him. 5 hours later. Yeah, thanks with an X, no punctuation. Her, do you think you'd want to meet up again another weekend? Him, the next day, so almost 24 hours
Jesus
later,
Christ.
he replies, yeah, maybe.
What?
Her, cool. When are you free? Him, about 3 hours later,
Okay.
are you going to bring your dog this time?
Oh, no.
Her.
Was he using her for the
Oh,
dog?
no.
I don't have to. What did you have in mind? Him, fast reply. It's just you paid more attention to your dog than me.
Okay.
Opposite of what I thought. Okay.
You came to see me, not play with your dog. I don't get why you even brought him.
Okay, we're
did he
done.
not
Done.
ask you to?
Goodbye.
Her, you said you'd love to meet him. Him, yeah, I did, but I didn't realize he'd stop us from doing things. We could have done so much more if he wasn't there.
Okay, we are done, dude.
And that sounds like an 18-year-old, not a 25-year-old.
My
Like, that
dude.
is so... we could have done stuff.
She thinks it's stupid how he turned around and blamed a bad date on her dog, but she really likes him and thinks she wants to see him again.
No.
They have been talking again, but not making any solid plans, but she says it gives her a kind of bad feeling she can't shake.
Yeah, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
Isn't that awful?
That's a
to be
red flag.
jealous of you asked to bring the dog. You're going to a park. Isn't
Sir.
that weird? Update. He said she disrespected him
All right.
for paying more attention to her dog than him.
You know, we should really...
I'm out.
We should really talk about, like, words that are red flags.
Overused.
Disrespect.
Disrespect.
Overused.
Immediately. Like, I'm like, oh, no.
Wait,
Like, if a man
disrespected
says
you?
that, you disrespected me. I am immediately like, I get toxic masculinity vibes
Yeah,
from that
absolutely.
automatically.
So
Ugh.
yeah, she ended things with him, luckily, and
Also, sorry, the dog's been in my life for a really long time, longer than you.
also it just gives you so much insight into their character.
Yeah. If you're going to be jealous of a fucking dog,
Yeah.
my personal dog, that is the reddest of flags. That
Also-
says a lot about what his expectations are and where he expects to be in your priorities. And that is a fucking enormous red flag.
Yeah, who is you? This dog is my dog.
honey.
Like, I love this creature.
This dog relies on me.
Yeah.
This is my
This
responsibility.
is my baby.
This is my
Yeah, like,
yeah.
Well,
sorry,
also,
you can take a walk.
I just think that it shows
by
like
yourself without my dog.
Yes.
it shows such a red flag because it demonstrates such insecurity on
Yes.
his
That's right.
part. And insecurity in the way that it manifests could be like
Dangerous, actually.
Dangerous, yeah.
Also, sorry.
So get out.
Dogs need attention. Like, they need
Yeah.
attention. Especially
You
black
went to
labs.
a
Have you
park.
ever been around a black lab?
Yeah, it's you went to a park. You went to a nature park. She talked about bringing him. You were cool with it. Like I don't understand. Like
Yeah, black labs require so much. Like,
Yeah.
they have such high energy. They need to run around. You're gonna be playing fetch with that dog. Sorry, this is a you problem.
Yeah.
I don't know what to
also,
tell you.
Again-
who doesn't
again-
enjoy playing with a dog?
Right?
I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I get to meet somebody I've been chatting with, and they brought this adorable animal.
Yeah.
To be honest, I would probably be paying more attention to
That's
the dog.
right.
I'd be like, new dog that I've never met. Like,
Yes. We're best friends now.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Yeah.
win over this dog. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I actually don't
Like-
give a shit about the human. I don't even know what they look like. Oh my God, I have to tell you. So we have our neighbor dog, his name's Beverly. Her name's Beverly. And she is like a fucking enormous. She's like the size of a Great Dane, but curly haired. So she's like a poodle Great Dane looking dog. She's
Oh, that's amazing.
beautiful and I love her. And her eyelashes are literally like 2
Like
inches.
cartoon
fully
eyelashes?
2 inches long. She's beautiful and I love her. And she's a super lovey dog. I don't know what her owner's name is.
Oh, I was going to say the same thing. We have Ace that lives next door to us, and then we also have George. I'm like, ask me who the humans are.
I don't
no
know.
idea. Love their dogs and say hi to them and call them by their names.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, hey, dude, what's up? Like, I have no idea who the actual owners are.
I know Beverly. The end.
For a
By the way,
minute there, Cassie, I thought that was just going to be a Beverly shout out. Like, I thought you were just like, this is what this dog looks like, and I love her, period. The end. Shout out to Beverly on the podcast. Like,
podcast. She does not listen, I don't think. But how awesome is it that Beverly and Rose live? I mean, it's like a retirement home for dogs.
I love
my,
it.
My
oh, man, I had a friend who had a dog named Phyllis. So cute.
So great.
Just, yes.
I love old
I need
names.
like a Dorothy. I need like a,
Yeah.
Yeah.
a Blanche.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Anyway, okay. This one just made me laugh. It's 2009. Connect with a guy, right?
Sorry.
Okay.
Already?
We're there.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've set the scene. Connect with a guy on Plenty of Fish. He picks me up at my house. We head to an ice cream shop. I love that the way she writes is just one sentence at a time. Well, I mean, that's all stories. Anyway.
Watching you come to the realization like, at the same time as you say
You know
it.
what I mean? It's like, it's 2009, period. Connect with a guy on Plenty of Fish, period.
Yes. Not a lot of compound
quick.
No,
sentences
it's quick.
and stuff.
Okay, we head to an ice cream shop, period. He has just come back from Army basic training, and the topic of conversation will only be about what physical stuff he has learned how to do there.
Great.
I try to change the topic to literally anything other than how fast he can climb something and hand-to-hand fighting tactics, but to no avail. We exit the ice cream shop. He puts me in a headlock. Sir! The patrons inside silently watch me flail about trying to escape.
I
no.
911 fucking
Right?
one. The police are pulling
Yes.
up immediately
Yes.
because I'm already on my phone.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not the one who calls the police for anything, but for that,
Yeah, you heard him talking to her about like hand-to-hand combat tactics. And
And
you
then
already
I
had the
see
phone
you-
in your hand. You were waiting.
I see you in the parking lot in a head. You got hurt. We
Oh,
got
yeah, I know. I'm like in the coffee
Sir.
shop. I'm calling the cops.
Yeah. He releases me from the headlock, explains how I should have escaped his hold. We had
I thought I was going to a
cannot.
date, not a Krav Maga class. Jesus Christ.
I did not know I was going to self-defense classes today. Who knew?
we head to the movies. We sit down in an empty theater.
Oh, no.
He cranes his neck, thinks he hears something, leaves to go check it out.
Oh, okay. Rambo.
Right? Yeah, he's got the like
This
dark
guy.
like
Yeah.
smudge under the eyes.
Comes up over the seats, like looking both ways, ducks back down.
Oh, no.
10 minutes go by. I hear
10 minutes goes by. He's
a
gone.
while.
He's checking out every seat.
Oh, yeah. He's going all Jack Reacher on this AMC.
10 minutes go by. I hear something on the floor to my left.
Jesus Christ.
He's army crawling toward me on his stomach,
Do you know
about
how
to grab my ankles and scare me.
Sticky those floors always are.
Disgusting.
I have never
He
been
has
into
gum.
Pop. He's got popcorn.
Someone's
stuck to
semen,
him.
'cause
Oh,
you know.
it's just always sticky on the floor. He's on the floor.
Army crawling towards her ankles.
Oh
No. I'm out.
The image of that, like turning
Oh.
around and it's just like, he's like a snake just slithering towards you.
I hate this so much. Oh, dude.
We finish the movie and leave, never see each other again.
Nope.
Yeah, no.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Why? Why?
Oh my God. Whew.
All right. So I'm going to start one with a trigger warning, especially if you're a guy.
Okay.
Okay. Because this involves danger in your private zones.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
no.
Proceed with caution.
Yes,
Your
yes.
swimsuit area.
In your point
Well-
to where on the doll.
I almost really want that to be the title of the episode. Your swimsuit area.
So yes, men especially, this will involve your swimsuit. Okay. Okay, sorry. All right, I'm going to go ahead. So here we are. My first post, and it had to be a good one to start. I have many bad dating stories, but this one, well, you'll see.
Ooh.
It all started with the beloved Tinder. Since deleted, will probably reappear, no doubt, when I'm bored.
Yeah.
So, as always, I started with a swipe and a match. Unusually, the conversation flowed and numbers were exchanged. We spoke an awful lot before the meeting, and so the actual date was really easy. Drinks flowed, and lo and behold, we went back to mine and carried on the night. I was feeling a bit frisky. Girls got needs and all. We had deep conversation, and I thought, this one might have potential. He'd also told me about his dick was massive, and I needed to see this shit for myself. But then I accidentally sharted.
Wait.
Oh,
Took a
Whoa.
a quick left.
Whoa, we were on the freeway and now it's she sharted when, where, how.
I thought I was letting a discreet fart out, but no, I followed through. It's okay. I sidewalked upstairs and quickly, methodically washed my arsehole and had a change of clothes. Don't know why that happened, but situation averted. Made some excuse to put on some comfy clothes. Fast forward, and
Also,
we are in the bedroom.
Can I just say that trying to discreetly fart around a stranger is always
You do that.
that's nerve wracking in itself.
Yeah.
Like, excuse yourself. Be like,
Move.
oh, I just need to.
Well,
Yeah,
It's always going
It's
to
a gamble.
backfire on you.
it's a gamble.
it's a gamble.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
you're playing with fire. You're gambling. You're rolling the dice.
yeah, and she lost.
She
Big
lost
time.
that bet.
Every time I've wanted to discreetly fart, it has been a tragic
Yeah.
story.
Case.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's you. Oh yeah. Usually it turns out to be
It's either louder than you expected, or it's
Or
not. But it
stinkier.
Smelly.
smells horrible.
Oh, dude, you're just like, God damn. God damn.
What did I eat?
What have I done? All right. So fast forward, and we were in the bedroom having a fumble. He was correct. His dick was massive.
Okay, so for once,
So
he
then
told the truth about himself.
I'm stood facing the wall and things are happening. And all of a sudden he says, "Is that blood?" Now I thought, fuck, has he perforated my cervix? But no, it was his dick bleeding to death all over my brand new carpet.
Why?
Wait, she went to carpet first. She's like,
Did
she's
she,
like, my
did she have
carpet.
like an IUD string or something like that that cut his dick up?
Oh, I don't
Oh
know.
my god!
She said, with my job, I'm pretty shit hot on first aid. I was absolutely out of my depth here. He'd snapped his bloody banjo. Either I have a vice-like vagina, 2 kids, so doubt it, or razor blades up there, but I can't work out how this happened. Maybe he didn't moisten me up? So now I have blood everywhere. And the man who has got back into my bed with a broken bathroom area,
Call an
911.
ambulance.
And all I can think about is my carpet. No.
Oh,
Honey,
this poor man is losing blood by the minute, and you're like,
But my carpet, it's new.
Oh.
Subsequently, I spent days Googling how to remove blood from my carpet, so much so that I started panicking that if the police were ever to get a hold of my phone, they would think I have a body buried. So there we go. Never saw him again, and I broke his dick
bet-
and shat myself. Lovely job.
I bet.
wow.
So I was like, I have a follow-up question. I said, I actually have approximately 1 million questions because I messaged her and was like, hey, do you care if I share the story? And she said, well, I'm assuming his said dick is still broken. It was last Saturday that this happened.
Oh my God.
And she said, honestly to God, I have no idea what happened. Carpet's fixed though.
Great. I was worried about that. Yeah. Yeah.
It's giving vagina dentata. It's
Yes.
giving
Oh!
teeth, right? Like
Yes.
I'm like,
no.
No,
That's wild.
I do know that I was with a guy one time, and if they're very, very large and they're bumping up there against your cervix, there is that fucking string that hangs down that they can feel, and that could possibly, I'm thinking,
Yeah.
that's the only thing I can think of that would have like cut or
it
something.
makes me
or
feel
pricked.
like physically nauseous. Like,
she said it was like broken. But how would it
Wow.
be bleeding if it was broken? Dude, I have a lot of questions.
I do too. Wow.
well, that
Wow.
was upsetting.
I didn't even know that could happen. Wow.
Oh yeah, you can break your dick for sure. You
Wow.
can. And actually usually it happens in, I've heard, reverse cowgirl. Because like
Reverse-
when,
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
a lot of sense. Oh,
yeah,
I
just,
can't
you know.
imagine the crack
Ugh.
that would make.
Ugh.
Oh.
I mean, it's not like a actual bone in there, but that's like, I
It's
mean,
gotta
that's what,
still-
cartilage or
It makes me feel like it sounds like whenever you use one of those snap bracelets. When it does that, like, when you like, you know.
Oh my God.
Oh no! Oh God! I heard
Sorry.
that. Well,
Wow.
Jesus Christ!
That-
Well, we should take a break from that.
Yes. Let's take 5 and then we'll come back with the Tainted Love.
Sounds good. Oh, and we're back.
Yeah. So I have the
Thanks,
Tainted
Keegan.
Love this week, and I'm usually like I like to find like silly, wacky, like crime.
Off the wall.
Yeah, off the wall.
Or at least that has an element that's kind of like we realize a lot of these are still murder,
They're
and
still
there's nothing
crime.
funny about that. But
I had a pretty heavy one last week, so
well, this one is not silly or wacky.
Oh.
It's actually probably one of the most terrifying stories
oh
that
my
I've
god,
ever heard. And we're going to get into it, but this is the story of Richard Wade Farley and Laura Black.
Wow.
So I got a lot of my information from Murderpedia, an article from the LA Times. So we're just going to dig into it. And I'm going to scary stories, you guys, because I definitely think this is probably the most frightening tale that I've ever told. It personally scares me the most.
okay.
So were you scary stories? Was that a trigger warning?
Yes. There's nothing really specific to trigger warning except for stalking, and then of course murder. So
Right.
Okay.
yes,
Keegan's favorite.
Yeah.
In the 1980s, ESL, Electromagnetic Systems Labs Incorporated, was a premier defense contractor and landmark in the electronics industry. Located in Silicon Valley with a modern office complex in Sunnyvale, ESL was one of the first tech firms that populated the area south of San Francisco. Richard Wade Farley was a software technician, optimistic about his career prospects. He began his job at ESL after leaving a 10-year stint in the Navy. Born in Texas in 1948, Farley led a lone, solitary life. Not married, no kids, no criminal record. He's pretty unremarkable. That is, until April of 1984, when a pretty 22-year-old named Laura Black started a job at the company. He would later say, "I think I fell instantly in love with her. It was just one of those things, I guess." Laura, for her part, didn't even notice the quiet older man at first. She was just excited to begin her career at somewhere so prestigious. So, like, he's 38 or so at this time, in his late 30s, and she's 22, just starting baby job getter. So
He's how old?
38.
He's 38. She's 22.
this was they met in 84. He was born in 48. Can you do math? 36. He is 36 at this point. But it would only take about a month for Richard to come out of the woodwork. He began by calling her desk phone a few times a day.
No.
I actually
hate that already.
This is what got me about this story. Is when I first started at Shadowbox, the very first day, there was this kid that used to work here, and I won't put his name out. He wasn't a big part of the company, but he just instantly gave me a bad vibe. And in his first conversation to me, he's like, you want to go camping this weekend? He asked me to go camping.
No.
It's terrifying to me.
You're
to
still
this day.
today?
Yeah.
Still today.
No.
I'm like, that is the weirdest thing.
I won't even go hiking with you on the first date, my dude. I don't know you.
No. But yeah, the first day I just started and already it's just weird.
What kind of person is yeah, sounds good. I'd love to go away from civilization with you for a couple of nights,
I'm the queen of bad decisions, and I love camping.
I love
I'd have been
camping
yeah,
too,
let's go.
But with a stranger?
With someone you just
If
met
I got a
at your
vibe.
new job.
No, if I feel like you got an actual vibe.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Yeah. Anyway.
But also, okay, so now you just started a job, okay? So I'm reading this story, and I'm it's impossible for me to not put myself in Laura's shoes. So you start this new job, you're super excited. I'm I'm working in tech, doing this thing, and then I've got this older coworker just keeps calling my desk. It's weird.
And
it's also the 80s.
So everything's creepier. Was he talking to her when he called her, or was he just doing that creepy calling and hanging up?
No, he's talking to her. He's calling.
We're
How's your
in the
day
same
going?
office.
How are
it
you?
would be less weird if you came over here than calling my office phone. That's very strange.
Yeah. Well, Laura was polite.
Yeah,
she didn't want to make a scene.
It's your job, which I can totally relate.
Exactly.
It's like you feel like women are conditioned to be polite, period.
Yes.
But like at your job.
Yeah.
And it's the 80s and it's like
she's a young woman.
In a male dominated industry.
This is a man's world.
This is like tech kind of thing. So she's just being polite to the older gentleman that keeps calling her. She's like, no, thanks. Like I'm good, kind of thing. So when that didn't work, Richard had to get creative. He somehow lied and tricked HR into getting her home address and started writing her letters.
How do you trick HR into such a thing? Like,
I know. I'm like, I need to know.
Someone wasn't doing their job.
That's not a 2022 HR department. I'll tell you that much. You ain't getting.
Yeah. So he got her house address, starts writing her letters, starts leaving her little like treats and trinkets at her desk and stuff too, like homemade bread and stuff. Can you imagine how fucking weird that would be if your coworker was like, and she's just totally trying to be like
someone you've expressed no interest in,
None.
right? Because like, yes, the conversation changes if like there are like mutual flirty exchanges or whatever. If you've talked to me about your bread and I'm like, oh, I'd love to try it sometime, and you leave me some bread at my desk, that's totally different than there is no reciprocation.
There's
no reciprocation,
none.
And you're relentless. Like, no.
Yeah. So yeah, he would write her letters at a rate of about 2 a week. He would hang out for hours at a 7-Eleven across from her home to get a glimpse of her, and then would tail her around town on errands.
What could you possibly have to say to me in 2 letters a week?
Especially when I'm giving you nothing,
Nothing
honey. I'm
in
giving
return.
you nothing. You're just telling me about your day. You're just writing.
Possibly.
It's just your diary entries. Ripping them out, fold them up.
It makes me think of that sketch from Saturday Night Live where they're like, "Dearest Barbara," and she's like, "Sounds good," you know? Like,
Yeah, exactly. Great.
I really feel like you should have sent me more.
He even joined a primarily women's aerobics class just to be near her. So
imagine your creepy coworker. He's got a headband on,
It's the
right?
80s.
He's got wristbands on and like fucking leg warmers. And he's standing in the back of the class.
I see this as a movie, and this is played by John Shear for sure.
So
I think it is a movie too. I have to see who plays who, but I know it is a TV movie.
I feel like it's like John Shear. Wow, Paul Shear.
Oh,
you know
Paul
what I mean?
Shear, I know who you're talking
like
about.
you know what I'm saying? Like I could see him as this character with like this headband on.
Yeah, like
working out.
That is probably the most like of everything you've said so far.
Well,
because I'm
yeah.
like, you're at an aerobics class and you turn around and like this guy's here too. Like you're encroaching on all of my space.
All of my
Yeah.
space. Exactly. It's one thing because like usually like if something about work sucks, you can leave it at work.
Right.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But now like that sucky part of work is now
following you
Literally
around town.
following you everywhere.
Yeah.
aerobics class. Laura continued to be polite and tried to easily let down the much bigger than her, much older than her Farley, telling him she did not return his feelings. But that only seemed to egg Richard on.
Why?
Oh, of course. Yeah, you just got to try harder.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to try harder.
Richard at work was all about Laura. He managed to steal and copy her desk keys. So whenever he could, he would go and rifle through her shit to learn more about her, where she went and who she was. I'm like, no coworkers were like, what are you doing in Laura's desk? No coworker was like, bro, like, what the fuck are you doing? Nobody says anything to him. Okay.
How high is he in this company? I'm curious.
He's not. That's the thing.
Yeah.
They were saying later he's a software tech and he got the job because of his Navy experience. And it was one of the lower positions that they gave people without a college degree. So he's not high up in the company. He wasn't super senior to her either. He'd only been there for about a year before she joined. So
definitely somebody should have been like, it's not like the boss was going through her stuff and like, it's like literally
it was
some
literally
dude.
somebody in a different department would just like go through her desk, leave stuff on her desk, all kinds of shit. And like nobody's saying anything. Okay. So she manages finally around like the holidays, December of 1984, to be like, I'm going to take a vacation. I'm going to go home to my parents' house in Virginia over the holidays. Well, Richard's able to find the address and write to her there.
He writes to her.
Come on.
Do you know what?
My man.
We've talked about this before, but like a letter like that comes to my parents' house and my dad sees it? Sir, you're in trouble. Guess who's coming back with me?
Exactly.
He's on that plane.
He's like, he's not fucking
You don't
around.
want my dad to be on that plane.
Yeah, he's going to find you at that
fucking
7-Eleven.
Mm-hmm. So, like, her parents talk to her and they convince her, like, move your address, like, talk to HR or whatever. Girl. But, like, she does, and it doesn't take long for him to find her new address.
Where is he finding this info?
I'm sure he follows her.
He just follows her. Yeah, he got it once from HR, but then he just, like, starts following her. Richard eventually actually starts dating another woman, and it gets serious enough where he moves her into his home. But he continues to call Laura several times a day at work and at home.
What is going on with this person's brain? Like, I'm always so fascinated by like minds of stalkers specifically, because I'm like, there is something misfiring for you to have this level of obsession about this.
Yeah,
like,
right.
It's
the
bizarre.
Like erotomania.
Yeah.
It definitely is.
Wow.
He leaves her little gifts on her desk when at work or approaching her on the street. Richard would often ask for a date, but inevitably would be turned aside by the gentle and polite Laura. These rejections would bring on recurring protests and endless restatements of his limitless love for her.
Sure.
She did what she could to avoid him. He would then just up the ante with more phone calls, more drive-bys her home, more gifts. Laura became horrified when she noticed him checking out the apartment right next door to hers.
I mean, at this point,
911. But then, yeah,
it's the 80s.
useless.
So what are they going to do? I mean, like,
He hasn't done anything.
You got to move state at this point. I mean,
he twice tries to move in right next door to her, so it prompts her to move again. This is when Richard decided he could no longer take no for an answer.
Okay,
and his tactics and tone become aggressive. His letters were full of derogatory remarks about her. His letters become threatening. The visits to her desk, her home, anywhere she went became more frequent, and Laura's life was a living hell.
This motherfucker still has a job?
Exactly.
Like, how does he still have a job? Like, did she speak to HR? Did she talk to people at her work?
Finally, after putting up with this shit for over a year, in autumn of 1985, so this has been going on for a year and a half, Laura finally goes to HR at ESL. A lot of things that I was reading about it, like comments were like, she was 22 in this big company, first
Didn't
job.
want to make waves.
Didn't want to be the hysterical woman.
Yeah.
Didn't want to be the difficult one.
Right.
You
I
know?
mean, because you're talking immediately upon being hired. It's not like she's someone who's been there for a long time.
Right.
Yeah.
So she didn't want to get in trouble or make waves because she didn't want to lose her own job.
Right.
So she finally does go to HR.
She's finally like, fuck this job. Even if I lose it, I'm
Exactly.
can't deal with this. Yeah.
So Richard was told he had to attend psychological counseling sessions and to stop harassing Laura if he wanted to keep his job.
Well, that'll do it.
Big. That's a big move.
For the 80s?
For the 80s?
Yeah, I know.
And normally it'd be like, hey, dude, if you just couldn't not
stop.
do that,
Do you mind
that'd be great.
cutting it out?
That's about it. Psychological. I mean, like, that's big.
Yeah. So although he did attend the sessions, the harassment didn't stop. It actually escalated even further.
Right.
And then in 1986, he could no longer control his anger towards her rejections and began to threaten her life as well as other employees at the company, saying if he got fired, he would no longer have anything to live for and he'd take everyone with him.
His girlfriend at home is like, excuse me, pardon.
Bye. He told ESL that they had no right to control his relationships with other individuals, and they were like, what you're doing is illegal, and now you're fired.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well,
They fucking got rid of him. I mean, it took like 2
Fuck around
years.
to find out.
Well, now that he's fired, Richard has nowhere to go.
He's got
from
free
9 to
time.
5. He's got nothing but free time, and But
at least you could keep your eyes on him when he was at the office with you, which is like a shitty way to think about that. But
that's what we've talked about before, as how sometimes it's like shitty
damned
where
if you
it's
do
like,
or damned if you don't.
Yeah, I know you block them, but then like you have this fear in your head there. You're like, where are they? At least like when they're
That's right.
unblocked, you can kind of like
Keep an eye.
get a gauge, but it's shitty. So his whole life begins to crumble because he's not paying attention to anything else in his life but Laura. Like chick face moves out.
yeah.
He loses his home to foreclosure. He owes over $20,000 in back taxes, and he has nothing but time to stalk Laura.
Again, like what's going on? Like what is going on in that brain where you're like, I'm willing to let every other aspect of my life fall apart just to focus all of my attention on this one individual.
And this is somebody that has no criminal history, nothing.
Like seemingly lived a normal life up until this point.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is terrifying to me for so many reasons. But so he calls and leaves a message to set up a date, which she ignores. She's still letting his shit go to the answering machine. But he took that as a yes and just showed up at her house.
No.
When she told him to go away, he took it as proof that she was playing games with him.
Okay.
Later, he goes back and tries for hours, testing code combinations to get into her garage.
Oh my God.
One of his letters to Laura at this time reads, "You cost me a job, $40,000 in equity taxes I can't pay, and a foreclosure.
You cost me these things."
You. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not because of your fucking shitty ass actions.
Yet I still like you. Why do you want to find out how far I'll go? I absolutely will not be pushed around, and I'm beginning to get tired of being nice. Terrifying. I absolutely like can't even imagine being in this position. And it's the 80s. So finally, like the last straw for Laura was in January of 1988. So she's been putting up with this for 4 fucking years.
Wow.
Nonstop daily phone calls, presence on her door. Like it's so
you're just living in fear.
You're living in fear all the time.
And you don't even have the same, like I saw a TikTok once. I was on TikTok and this woman who had a stalker, she like put a TikTok up of like, I'm at the bookstore.
Yes.
And like, this is my stock. And he approached her like in the bookstore and she videoed the whole thing.
I watched that thing like 5 times because it's terrifying. Just the way that he was talking to her and like blocking her escape. And it was in public in front of other people.
Yeah.
And it was one of the most threatening things I've ever seen.
And by the way, speaking of moms, his mom was in the comments defending her son. Yeah. But like this is the 80s. So you don't even have that protection because his behavior did change when he realized she was shooting him. Like that was one of the things in that video. And like, you don't even have that level of protection. Like there is nothing, you're just alone. Like, you know, you're just alone.
You're talking about somebody who's went to their company for help. And the company, I feel like did something, moved 4 times. 4 fucking times to try to get away from somebody. And it's just like, there's no recourse at that time to go to the cops. Like even now, there's really not that much.
Yeah. Even if she'd gone, all they would do is like maybe make a note of it. Yeah. They'd make a note of it. And that's,
just in case you end up dead, we'll know who did it.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
It.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, and that woman on TikTok, it's like she's done all the things as well. Like she's like, she has a big dog that she brings around with her everywhere and stuff like that. But it doesn't deter.
Yeah, somebody gets it in their head, like to this point.
Yeah.
It's terrifying. The last straw for Laura was in January of 1988, finding a copy of her house key with a note on her car from Richard.
No. Nightmare.
Yeah.
Horror movie.
So she immediately goes and filed a temporary restraining order against him. With all of her evidence overwhelming the police, she had over 200 letters, tons of testimony, like all this different shit that she'd gotten from him, so that even the cops at this point were like, okay, we'll go ahead and we're going to give you this temporary restraining order for right now.
But a restraining order is just a piece of fucking paper.
It doesn't do anything. Someone really wants to hurt you.
It's, February 2nd, and we're going to have a hearing to make it permanent for you. Like permanent restraining order against this guy on February 17th, 1988. So On February 16th, 1988, Richard Farley drove his motorhome to the ESL parking lot. At about 3 p.m., he loaded up various guns, about 100 pounds worth of guns and equipment, put on an ammunition vest, inserted earplugs, and put on leather gloves. He then walked into a side door by shooting the glass and began shooting while making a direct line to Laura's office.
God.
One man died in the parking lot as he was leaving the building. Another died behind his desk. A third was killed in the stairwell, and 2 men and 2 women were killed in a second-floor hallway.
Jesus Christ.
Hearing the commotion, Laura slammed and locked the door in her office as he approached. He punched a shotgun round through the door and then was able to get in, shooting twice more with the shotgun, missing the first time but shattering Laura's shoulder and tossing her back. Then he exited. He moves on. Laura did manage to make it to an adjoining office and then outside to safety.
Jesus.
Meanwhile, the rampage would continue with Richard shooting at computers and whoever came into his path. All in all, 7 people lost their lives that day, and 4 were wounded, including Laura. He finally surrendered for a sandwich and told police he only meant to scare Laura and was actually going to commit suicide in front of her. But then why did he put on the protective vest?
That's right.
That's what I thought. I
No,
was
you
like,
didn't.
no,
also,
you didn't.
he found her and then left.
Yeah.
So that would have been
wasn't
your
your plan.
time. And also, you've already shot a bunch of people before you even get to her.
Did you just say that he surrendered for a sandwich?
Yes. Yeah, he was holed up in there for like 5 hours.
Oh, Jesus.
And so finally they were able to get him to surrender so that he could have a sandwich because he got hungry.
This motherfucker right here.
Yeah.
All that time to have...
He told the police that the more she tries to push me away, the more I try not to have her push me away. And the next day, family court commissioner
That's not how
awarded
this works.
the permanent restraining order, but she was fighting back tears, saying that it's symbolic, but pieces of paper can't stop bullets.
That's right.
On October 21st, 1991, Richard Farley was found guilty of 7 counts of capital murder and 4 additional felonies and was later sentenced to death by the gas chamber. He is still in San Quentin prison to this day.
Wow.
Laura did go back and worked several years more at ESL.
Oof, I don't feel like I would,
Right.
I don't feel like I could. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like I
Right.
would have so much trauma from that experience.
Oh, my God. Yeah, PTSD alone.
Yeah.
Not...
A lot of people were saying that was like one of the things that made ESL like keep their reputation was because like the fact that Laura did, when she finally went to them, they acted on things and supported her. And then she went, obviously felt comfortable enough with the company to go back.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could, given what happened at the place, but I don't have any thing to say wrong about ESL actually from the story.
It seems like they definitely did. Yeah, not their fault, but it's not because of the place of business, it's because of the
trauma
actions
associated with that place.
That's
exactly
it. Yeah.
But this case, along with the tragic murder of Rebecca Schaefer, which we've told on this, led to the very first anti-stalking laws in California and the nation.
Wow.
And that is the terrifying story of Richard Wade Farley and Laura Black.
Horrible.
I have like fucking goosebumps. That is...
It's terrifying because the thing...
You didn't do anything.
She didn't do anything.
Yeah.
She did everything right. She just gently, politely, and she would tell him, like, I do not reciprocate these feelings. I am not interested. Like, very gently, but saying those words.
But
and
firm,
he still was like, no, you do, though. Like, but the thing is that I was reading this other thing about they're struggling about labeling it as erotomania because most of those cases are like, people that fall in love with people that they believe are secretly in love with them back.
Yeah.
Richard Black knew, or Richard Farley knew that Laura didn't love him. He just felt like
he was trying to get her to love him.
He could get her to do it.
Yeah.
So they have classified him as having a form of erotomania, but
Because
Yeah.
many times, like, these people haven't even met them and they're just certain that there's a relationship there.
Right.
And you're like, you've never even met this person.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
guy has met her, and she told him for 4 years, like, not interested, dude, like, at all. And he just could not accept that.
That's what makes it so scary to me. And I know that I've said that so many times on this podcast that like obsession cases are the scariest to me because what can you do? Like
Not
you
much
can't
you
do
can do.
anything. Like you didn't do anything to bring this on.
No.
You know, like, and there's nothing you can do to make it stop. Like
Yeah,
you
completely
can't
out of your
make
control.
it stop. It's completely out of your control. And to me, that is so scary. And I know that that's the case for, you know, a lot of the stories that we tell on this podcast, but there is something specific about relentless pursuit where it's
I'd
just-
move across the country.
I think
if
I would
that
leave
was
the
happening
state,
to
yeah.
me,
Yeah.
I would definitely, I would move as far away as I could.
Yeah.
And that sucks too because
it
then
does.
you have to
Sucks,
put
'cause
your fucking
I
life.
have to put, but
And to be honest, he might follow you. It's not like
Yeah.
he has anything
Right?
holding him. Like
Oh my
that's the
gosh.
thing too, is just like
A removal from the situation doesn't necessarily help.
stop
Yeah.
him. So I mean, yeah, if she had left that job, he probably wouldn't have stopped. You know, there was just nothing to be done about that. And unfortunately, I feel like so often these cases end really tragically. I mean,
Right.
you know, I don't think it's often that like people are just like, never mind, and walk away from
Right.
stalking cases. It's like it's going to escalate to a point where it gets physical.
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah, this person was obviously like something clicked so wrong in his head where he threw his whole life away for this.
That's so
it just
scary.
makes me think that, and that's what's so scary for me. I'm like, you never know what's going to trigger, what's going to flip someone's switch like that, and it just when I read that story, I was like, this is terrifying. Actually,
yeah, it's always scared me. It's like you know, that show where it's
Yes.
just like,
Yes.
you could just be minding your own business in a bookstore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like now all of a sudden you're the focus of some fucking creepy dude.
That's why it's so dangerous to read.
I know, truly. Amen.
Oh, well, speaking of reading, what do you guys what do you get into this
What are we
week? What are you watching?
consuming?
Yes.
Yeah, because I'm really not watching anything new. I don't think I've started anything new at all. But I did read Circe, which you recommended on this podcast.
Love
I
it.
I like read it in like 2 days. I was just like ran right through that book. It is so good. Highly recommended. It's not underrated at all. I'm very excited to read Song of Achilles. So if you're looking for a good Greek mythology retelling, would recommend.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely.
That's on my list. That's actually my up next. I feel like I've hounded you guys so much about the one book that I really loved this year that I'm like, oh, I owe it
Which
to
I
you
did
guys
get
to
from the library. I got it from the library. It's on my bedstand right now.
I need to
so
download it.
don't worry.
I know. I'm like, I feel like we all owe each other one story
Yes.
this year. And for Christina, it's Circe.
Yes.
Keegan, you have a few. Black Swan is where I'm at right now so far.
Vanishing Half has been my favorite. Well,
that's
Circe's
right.
up there too. Like those two are probably my favorite of the year so far.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I have actually not done anything. We were going to watch, there was a couple movies on our list last night and we started, I've never seen Sicario, but I've only heard over and over and over again that I should watch it. So I started watching it and I got literally halfway through and I was like, too tired.
Oh yeah.
My eyes are weary. And I'm just like, I couldn't.
It does feel like
Oh,
something
man.
you would enjoy. It's like
Oh yeah,
a lot of
It's
action and
right in my wheelhouse,
Yeah.
and I was enjoying it, but I was just so tired. It was like 9:30. Like I can't any longer.
That's been me. I've been sick, so I'm just like literally at 10 o'clock. I'm like, good night. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, I cannot stay up and watch anything.
and I had a coffee. See, I'm yawning now. I had a coffee at like 7 o'clock, so it wasn't like I tried.
Your body was like, shut it down. Shut it down.
Yeah, it was a long week. Whew.
I have been I started, and it's one of those things where you like something and then there's 9 fucking seasons of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's. I mean, not that I've ever tried heroin, but I have to imagine it's up there, right? That feeling of like, there's 9 seasons. You can get like really knee deep into a story. Oh, I love it.
It's on PBS. It's a show called Finding Your Roots.
Oh, I love
I
that
love
show.
Finding Your
I have
Roots.
never
No.
seen it before.
You're
There's
kidding.
9
So
fucking
good.
seasons
Oh,
of it,
it's
and
so
it's just
good.
all about. It's like history and
Yep.
genealogy.
How have you
and
not seen
I've
this?
not
Yeah,
seen it.
it's so good.
Not
This
seen
is
it.
right in your. I mean,
Oh,
like if
it
there
is
was a
fucking
show.
fascinating.
Yeah.
It is so good.
I love PBS so much.
I do too.
Ugh.
So I've been binging on that big time. So
It's good.
can't recommend it enough for people that love to think about their history and their people and where they come from. It's
So
just
cool.
really, really interesting stuff. So
Have you ever watched Who Do You Think You Are?
mm-mm.
Okay, that's same
Same
deal.
thing.
Same deal.
Cool.
Who do you think you are? So if
Nice.
you're into that,
Is that also on PBS?
I feel like it was.
Hmm.
I feel like it's
Never
Very
seen it
similar.
on that app.
yeah.
But yeah. Well, if you guys have something that we should watch or read, if you have bad date stories, please go to our one-stop shop of a website. It's myworstdatepodcast.com. And we love you so much.
Cheers.
This is a Glass Box Media Podcast.